Hello there, it's Kieran from NGB and I'm back with another review. This one has a content warning of sorts. Inner Ashes is a game that's centred around a guy who suffers with Alzheimer's and the effect that it has on his relationship with his daughter. Naturally, it's quite heavy, so if you're not in a place to listen to that at the moment, then I'd give this one a miss. But we've got loads of other videos on the channel, and some of them might even be good. Maybe. But for now, here's the review of Inner Ashes. Inner Ashes is a story-driven game centred around Henry, a single parent looking after his daughter Enid. Henry suffers from Alzheimer's disease, and the game centres around him trying to remember how his relationship with Enid deteriorated. You play through these memories as mini-ventures into so-called islands, essentially a bunch of dreamlike landscapes based on key memories or abstract realisations of Henry's mind. As you explore these worlds, you find collectibles to help give a better understanding of Henry and Enid's relationship, and also of his disease. On paper this sounds like it could be something quite special, but in practice it's unfortunately not quite that. It's worth noting that Inner Ashes is a budget title, costing only 13 quid, and it's a game created by a small team, so you should definitely temper your expectations. That all said, it suffers from performance issues, underwhelming puzzle design, and a general lack of polish. It does, however, feature some lovely visuals and a compelling story. You begin the game in Henry's house and have free rein to explore. It's here we can get a sense of what it's like living with Alzheimer's. Blue post-it notes are affixed to walls and objects throughout the house, each instructing how to use them, or a reminder of what they actually are. In the corner of the main living space is a writing desk, with the Inner Ashes book laid on top. It's here where you relive your memories and access the game's levels. Once you're in a level, you can search the area for clues to solve a puzzle, which unlocks a hatch to access the final puzzle. There's nothing too taxing here, but one neat little touch is that you can find sofas in these worlds, and when you sit on them, you're transported back to the house, allowing you to collect objects from the real world, to bring them back into the dream world to complete a puzzle. It's a cool little feature, but besides that, the puzzles are lacking. The final puzzle in each level offers a bit more of a challenge, but usually for the wrong reasons. These Tetromino style fit all the shapes inside the hole kind of puzzles require you to rotate and place pieces to find the perfect fit. As you progress through the story, the difficulty of these puzzles increases, and it becomes an absolute pain in the arse to select the pieces. You'll often move the control stick to try and select a piece, but end up being stuck inside the main puzzle. Eventually you have to remove pieces to select others, and it's just all a bit messy. It's also difficult to see which piece you've highlighted in the main puzzle, so you end up battling with the UI rather than solving the problem. I appreciate the metaphor here for filling in pieces of Henry's mind, but these generally feel unnecessary and a little bit tacked on. The cumbersome nature of these puzzles also extends into the wider game, unfortunately. I played Inner Ashes on the PS5 and the frame rate is not great. It's inconsistent, however there's a bigger issue here. Whether that be down to poorly implemented motion blur or inconsistent frame pacing, I'm not really sure. But whatever it is, it made me feel nauseous, and that rarely happens to me when playing a game. Aside from that, there were also a few occasions where I fell through the map, meaning I had to jump back to the menu to continue from a previous checkpoint. It's deathly slow to walk in this game too, so if you find yourself restarting for any reason, it's incredibly frustrating. Other niggles such as mismatched subtitles and less than seamless transitions between loading screens makes Inner Ashes feel almost unfinished. But Inner Ashes is a narrative game and it fortunately has a great story, although the emotion is somewhat stilted by pretty questionable voice acting at times.
But I don't understand why I can't take it now, but I can when I grow up. What's different?
There are, as you'd expect, some hard-hitting moments, particularly as Henry's well-being deteriorates. But what's interesting though is that the game doesn't rely on memory loss as its emotional hook. The game highlights other symptoms of the disease, such as showing signs of frustration and frequent mood swings. There are also a set of hidden collectibles that explain the disease in more detail, such as catching early signs and what to expect as the disease progresses. Its depiction of Alzheimer's is actually really respectful rather than being exploitative. Most of the story plays as audio snippets during gameplay, but between each level, illustrated storyboards bring the story to life. The artwork is lovely and fits in perfectly with the narrative. Some levels are also simply beautiful places to walk around, filled with serene woodlands and rivers. I dare say the game would be better if it focused on telling the story while you walked through these environments and ditched the puzzle elements completely. When we were given the opportunity to review Inner Ashes, I jumped at the chance because it sounded pretty much my sort of thing, so I'm genuinely a bit upset that I didn't enjoy it as much as I'd hoped. However, I'm still glad that the game exists. It's always nice to see video games tackle sensitive subjects as it shows that they aren't just things for kids. They can be serious and a great means for telling important stories. And most importantly, the game sheds light on an illness that most of us are aware of, but might not necessarily know much about. Inner Ashes is respectful, informative and emotional. It's just a shame that the game surrounding its warm heart is somewhat cold. Thank you for watching, and as always, if you enjoyed this, then please do like it and share it with your friends. And if you're feeling extra generous, then subscribe to the channel, because you get to see more videos like this, and it does help us grow. Thanks again, and until next time, goodbye.